What's going on, my super fam? So today we have kind of an interesting video discussing on something that I haven't been talking for quite a while in my video, which is gonna be the Abyss. Now I'm probably gonna do more Abyss video from now on. However, this Abyss is especially special because it goes to show that it's one of the most challenging and difficult Abyss we have experienced to date. I know that there have been many tougher ones, but for me personally, this probably gonna be the toughest one I have been through. And considering that my Genshin Impact account is quite invested, yet I still feel some kind of a challenge. I know how difficult it's going to be for those of you who don't really have your character too invested, or especially for those free-to-play players. Which is why in today's video, guys, we're going to be discussing the top 5 duo teams in Genshin Impact Abyss 3.6 that have been proven to be able to clear the Abyss using basically free-to-play characters. The goal is to present you a few different teams ideas so that it actually helps you out in terms of building your own team depending on your account situations. Now guys, talking about characters, if you are new to the channel, then be sure to subscribe, as I will be doing a giveaway at 35,000 subs for my subscribers. We are almost there already, so it's not a long way to go, plus it's going to be a chance for you to be able to grab a lot of Primogems so that it helps you out in terms of pooling for the character that you want. And also guys, it is a free way to support me and my channel so that I can continue making Genshin Impact videos for you. And so with that out of the way guys, let's just dive into today's video. Now first, before we hop on into some of the teams, that kind of like, you know, talk about a little bit of the disclaimer here, or you know how the video will work, is that first of all, the team that we'll be discussing in today's videos have already been proven to clear the Abyss using 4-star weapons and mostly 4-star characters. These teams have been tested by me personally and also some of the other YouTubers that have cleared the Abyss, and obviously I will credit them whenever we talk about their teams, because while I think that is the right way to do. Now guys, even though the team's roster is proven to clear, however on your side of things, it is always very important that you invest as much into your character as you can, because of course if you don't have a lot of character, then you know what other thing you have to do in other than building your character to the best of your ability, especially when you are trying to clear the Abyss as hard as patch 3.6. So if you haven't already guys, start farming a lot more and referring to a lot of different guides for your own specific characters and build them as much as you can. Now since we're going to be discussing with a lot of different team comps guys, I really can't go too in depth of how you're going to be using each team to clear each of the chamber of floor 12. However, considering Abyss 3.6 guys, there are two basic requirements that you want to keep in mind. Is that on the first half of floor 12, generally the requirements are you going to be having a bow character, because in chamber 2 there's going to be the Eon Blight, and then it's also advised that you runs in a catalyze or at least have an electro character on your team for the first half so that you have an easier time with chamber 3. On the second phase though, it's going to be best if you have characters that have a little bit of crowd control, because you're going to be going up a lot of different enemies at the same time and a lot of wave together as well. Now if you're already a veteran in this, you may have already known that some of these enemies are quite heavy and you won't be able to crowd control them all the time. However, since again we're dealing with a lot of enemies at the same time, crowd control, if you have it, is still going to be a nice thing and save you a lot of time here and there. And so that's generally everything you have to keep in mind in terms of the very basic things of floor 12. Again guys, I just want to remind you that the aim of the video is that no matter if you're basically a whale, a dolphin, or a free-to-play player, you can always beat the toughest of content in the game, especially in this Abyss where it's technically one of the hardest we have experienced so far. So guys, as long as you do invest into your character, give them in the right team, which we'll be discussing right now, you will be able to clear the Abyss and get all of the free Primogems that they give us. And so let us just hop on into the teams. First we have our duo number 1. This is an inspiration I got from I Win to Lose Gaming, running on the first half with Fischl, Yao Yao, Sucrose and Kuki Shinobu, and the second half with Hazel, Xiangling, Bennett and Xingqiu. First half, we have a perfect lineup with a team that focuses on aggravate and spread damage, alongside with Sucrose, who's going to be increasing a lot of reaction damage from our aggravate, as well as electro damage as a whole. Fischl here, as I have mentioned, is a very important character, especially in this abyss, because she basically have already covered two requirements of being a bow character and also an electro character at the same time, which is why generally Fischl is always gonna be in your first team. Yao Yao is your most important character on the team here as well, because she fulfills the role of being a dendro character and also helping you out with healing. I'm sure we all know how good of a character Yao Yao actually is already. However, due to the fact that she is a 4-star character, yet she's also one of the characters that is able to help you apply a lot of dendro, not to mention a very good healer to boot, making her a perfect dendro character on most of your free-to-play teams. And we also have Kuki Shinobu helping you out with healing as well as a lot of aggravate damage, together with electro resonance with Fischl, helping a lot of energy recharge to help out for Sucrose, because she is the only anemo character on the team, yet she also needs a lot of energy, and that's going to help her out a lot with her burst. Sucrose acts a lot in terms of helping you with a little bit of crowd control, but with the sheer amount of EM buff she's giving to the team, it is very valuable. Onto the second phase, we have kind of like a sub-national team with Xiangling, Bennett and Xingqiu. We know how powerful these three characters are together. And then we see Hazel. Quite a rare sight here, because Hazel isn't always used in most of the Abyss run, but in this specific Abyss he has his chance to shine, where he's going to be acting as the on-field driver for the team. Plus, investing in him and Hazel is still going to be able to do a ton of damage. But not only that, he's here to also help you with a tiny bit of crowd control. Even though he's not the best crowd controller we have, but he's still able to, you know, group a bit of your enemies here and there, which helps you out a lot in the second phase. Now, in terms of how you basically build the characters, I obviously won't go in depth into much, but I'll just be going through the main point. First off, we have Fischl. For her weapon, you can use the stringless if you have it on your account. Hopefully you do after a while of playing Genshin Impact, because it's literally one of the best 4-star bow, and it even rivals that of the 5-star bow options as well. For artifact sets, obviously electro character have a lot of options. However, for me personally, I would still go with just attack percentage and electro damage bonus onto Fischl. Her artifact stats, you can either focus on building her full EM, but other than that, you know, building her as attack damage bonus and crit ratio is still fine onto Fischl. For Yao Yao, her weapon can generally be the Favonius Lance, because it's help her out with a lot of energy recharge plus the whole team as well. She has two main options of building her. Generally, first off, you just want to go with her on a deep wood set, because it's very universal, and you can either build her as a pure healer, though I generally don't really recommend you going that route, because since we're in the Abyss, we want to prioritize having a lot of damage focus onto your character as possible. And so I would generally recommend you, if you can, go with a full EM build, so that Yao Yao can help with reaction damage here and there whenever she actually triggers it. Sucrose, obviously she's a very common character already. You can go with a sack fragment, and obviously she's going to be on a 4-piece VV with a full EM build. For Kuki Shinobu, generally she can go with any EM weapon, because Kuki is going to be focusing on an EM build, but overall the Iron Sting is going to be the most free-to-play option we have right now. For artifact sets, generally the best option is you going to be going with the 4-piece Tenacity, because that help out your team a lot. However, here in this case, I'll just go ahead and go with 2-piece EM and 2-piece HP, so that Kuki can focus on dealing more damage for herself. And of course, her 3 artifact piece, you want to focus on having EM on her. For Hazel, if you have the Wisith, it's best going to be giving it to him. Generally, guys, you want to have a 4-piece VV onto Hazel, strategically speaking, because it's technically the best of his artifact build, since Hazel acts as a driver on field, therefore shredding a lot of elements on your opponent, helping Xiangling and Xingqiu doing their own personal damage as well. For the 3 artifact piece stats, you can go with full EM builds onto Hazel, and that is still fine. As for the 3 character, Bennett, Xiangling and Xingqiu, they are really common character already, so I won't really go into their build now. For duo team number 2, this is is an inspiration from Ken Rurouni. First team we have Fischl, Bennett, Xiangling, and Rosaria, and on the second phase we have Yao Yao, Xingqiu, Kuki, and Beidou. First team is going to be a mixture of Overload as well as Melt Reaction popping everywhere, since we have Rosaria here on the team. Now generally team performance is still gonna be the same. However, what you do want to keep in mind though is regarding Rosaria's energy recharge level, because since she is the only cryo character on the team, she will need help with a lot of energy recharge for herself, because without her burst activated on field, you're missing out on a lot of reaction damage, which takes out the purpose of having Rosaria on your team. So do keep that in mind, guys. Second team basically focus on a Hyper Bloom team together along with Beidou here. Beidou is still a very powerful character, guys, so if you have been kind of slacking on her, it is really a worth it character for you to invest in, because technically speaking she can be used in every single one of the Abyss. Now regarding Beidou's build, she has a lot of different claymore weapon for you to use. If you have, you know, invested in our Serpent Spine, then definitely it is one of the best 4-star option that you can run onto her. Other than that, EM claymore options are really good, like our Rain Slasher here. Or if you're feeling that you're lacking in energy recharge for your Beidou, which it does require a lot, then a Favonius Claymore is a very good option. In terms of our artifact sets, guys, you want to go with the 4-piece Emblem of Fate set, because as we have mentioned, Beidou requires a ton of energy recharge on her side, and Emblem Fate set is going to help her cover that part, while helping her boosting a lot of her burst damage level purely by investing into your energy recharge. Now as for Beidou artifact stats, you can generally go with energy recharge, damage bonus, and as well as crit. However, building Beidou full EM isn't bad either, so that's going to be your choice in terms of how good your artifact stats are going to be. On to duo number 3, we have an inspiration from Slan's team featuring DMC, Xingqiu, Kuki, and Collei on the first half, and on the second half we have Hazel, Bennett, Xiangling, and Kaya. First half we'll be focusing on a lot of spread damage from our main Dendro character and Collei, as well as Kuki Shinobu with aggravate damage, and Xingqiu here to help out with Hyper Bloom. Now Collei, even though I know that many of you haven't built her, however she's really important on this specific Abyss because she fulfills the role of being a bow character, and she's still able to apply quite a decent amount of Dendro elements for your team from her own burst. And Dendro MC, guys, if you actually haven't built her up yet, then it really is time for you to invest into your main character, because of course you're going to be using your main character for a very long time. Plus Dendro MC is literally one of the best in the game, especially when you have Constellation unlocked as well, so it's a very worth it investment into your Dendro MC. Second phase is going to be a little bit similar, changing up with Kaya onto Xingqiu's place, having us focusing on melt reaction focus. Again, since Kaya is the only cryo character on the team, you want to focus on him having a lot of energy recharge, because without his burst you'll basically only be doing swirl pyro damage, which is not a good thing, so be sure to keep that in mind. In terms of character builds, Collei here can go with the stringless if you want, or she can also with other weapon like the Favonius bow. Artifact sets, you would want to build her on a deep wood set with a full EM build if you can. Other than that, she can still go with a normal attack, Dendro damage bonus, and crit build if you would like. Dendro MC have a lot of sword option, guys. However, generally I'm just going to give her with the Favonius sword because it helps her out with a lot of energy recharge for her burst as well as her team overall. Gilded Dream can be run onto her within this team, and if you can, build her with a full EM set. Other than that, attack crit build is still perfectly fine. As for Kaya, again he has a few different sword options if you like. However, a Favonius sword is also good on him so that he covers a lot of his energy recharge level and for his team. For his artifacts though, you want to go with a 2-piece Blizzard with a 2-piece Noblesse so that it focuses on him dealing a lot more damage for himself, and while he focuses on his burst, a 2-piece Noblesse is gonna cover him on that part. Onto duo number 4. First half we have Diluc, Fischl, Xingqiu, and Bennett. On our second phase, it's gonna be Kuching, Kuki Shinobu, Dendro MC, and Sucrose. Now I know that, you know, Diluc and Kuchings are 5-star character, however since they are standard character, they can still technically be considered as free to play because you're still able to get them and also a lot of their constellations. And hopefully after you have been playing for a while, you have these two characters. bonus. On the first team with D-Loop, we're going to be focusing on Pyro Resonance with a bit of Overload as well as our Vaporize damage. It's still basically one of the best team to feature D-Loops in, and it still works absolutely perfect on this specific Abyss. On our second team, we're running an Electro Resonance along with Kuching and Kuki Shinobu. Dendro MC here to help us activate aggravate damage, and of course Sucrose is gonna be the one to increase that damage for the whole team. Now something I forgot to mention about Kuki Shinobu is that if she is the sole healer on your team, it is very important that you keep in mind her HP level so that she doesn't get killed, because these Abyss specifically hits extremely hard and many of your character will die very fast if you don't either have a shield or you don't iframe correctly. So please keep that in mind as Kuki Shinobu, even though she is really good with healing and of course helping out with your team damage, her own healing caused her to lose a lot of HP, so she may get killed herself many of the time. Now in terms of build, for D-Look you can run basically a normal set on him with a 4-piece Crimson and attack DPS build. Kuching has a lot of different artifacts option at this point, but you can run her with, you know, a 4-piece Thundering Fury or a 2-piece Mix and Match, and she can still run with attack DPS build as usual. On our fifth team, we're going to take a little bit up a notch here with featuring Raiden Shogun, Fischl, Yao Yao and Xingqiu on the first team, and Mona, Kuki Shinobu, DMC and Beidou on the second team. Now of course Raiden is a 5-star character that requires to be built, however she's one of the most common 5-star character that is suggested to be pulled by most of the accounts if you can do so, because she's one of the best DPS character you have in the game, not to mention how good of a support she gives to your team, so she's a very valuable character to have for you. And on the second team, we have Mona to be basically the driver for this specific team in terms of focusing on doing Hyper Bloom damage that your team is able to create. For Raiden's build, obviously you want to generally go her with the catch for free-to-play options, and her artifact sets is always definitely going to be our Emblem Fate sets. Now for her artifact stats, you can actually go with a full EM Raiden's build because you're generally focusing on doing a lot of reaction damage. However, generally you can still go with her normal builds of energy recharge, damage bonus and crit is still fine. For Mona, again she has a lot of good option. You can go her with a Wisith if you want, and for her artifacts build, her generally Heart of Depth is still fine. However, we can still even go with a Gilded Dream onto Mona because we're going to be focusing on building EM onto her. Her artifact stats can be EM full, but other than that her normal attack DPS set is still fine. So even though this Abyss is a pretty hard nut to crack, I believe that these 5 teams that we have mentioned here will have given you some of the idea in terms of how you can build difference in your team. And once again, I do have to remind you that you really want to invest as much as you can into building these characters of yours in order to fully clear out the Abyss, because that is very important. I hope that the video have helped you out and you found value in some of these recommendations. If you do have any other team comps that you have been using, guys, feel free to leave it down in the comment section and I love to discuss with you down there. Again guys, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as there will be a giveaway at 35,000 subscribers on the channel. Guys, I have a lot of different team building videos for you, so if you are interested in team building, you can check out this playlist right here. Again, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me till this part of the video, and with that I wish you a super day and I will catch you on my next video.